At Britain's Touchless Car Wash, they know life gets busy. That's why they're here 24/7 to keep your car looking spotless, fast, and easy. Their advanced brush-free wash technology delivers a sparkling clean without a single scratch because they treat your car like it's their own. Here's the best part. Right now, you can get a free car wash just for joining their text club. It's simple. Just text BRITT to 30400, and your first wash is on them. Britain's Touchless Car Wash has two convenient locations, 1923 Larkin Avenue in Elgin and 555 Willow in West Dundee. They're proud to keep your car clean while giving back to our community. Text BRITT to 30400. That's BRITT to 30400 now for your free car wash and see why Britain's Touchless Car Wash is the fast, gentle, and reliable choice.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. This afternoon, sunny with a high near 60, temperatures falling to around 58. Windy with gusts up to 25 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear with areas of frost after 2 a.m. and a low around 35. Tomorrow, sunny with a high near 65. Currently, it is 58 with clear skies. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Hello, America, and good day to our friends around the world. This is a political talk show on WRMN. That's WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of the show. And thanks for sticking around to the end of the Sox game. We usually play Sox in the evenings. They got to take over Talk Time with Tammy and friends today, but I'm sitting here with you, and it is fantastic that you're with me on the AM dial for a political talk show. Those of you on YouTube, I appreciate you being over there as well. If you haven't noticed a different background on YouTube, I am broadcasting live from the study over from the home studio here. Thanks for being here, and I invite you into my home. Today we got a few things that we're going to go over, but most of it is going to be all about news. We're going to go over some legislation because we've got some legislation that we need to make sure that we go over. Pressing initiatives that needed to get passed by a narrow margin, 211 to 206. So we'll see how the future of this bill goes. And of course, we'll just go through some more news, especially some of that of how Pope Leo is now been selected. Now that the entire process is over, I'm now going to bring in some of my religious experts and talk a little bit about them. I'm putting together just a conversation a little bit about how the selection process was and popes of the past and things like that. I subscribe to a couple of different outlets where people send me experts to be able to talk with, and I'm working on a few of them to all come in actually at the same time. So congratulations to Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, and now Pope Leo. Congratulations to you. We'll go into more of that later. But I want to remind you that there is a new voice on the morning show, the WRMN morning show. That is Elliot Serrano. Him and Susie C are having a fantastic time there. Lots of laughs, lots of fun, some games, and even some prizes this morning. So go ahead and check them out. Live programming starts at 6. Going most of the way through. We would live stream the Sox games if the contract didn't stop it. They want you to either watch it or find another place for it. But if you are a AM radio fan like me, you'll know that some of the best sporting events, especially baseball, can be heard on the radio. Football, maybe not so much. Maybe it might be a little clashing and there's too many side-by-sides. But things like golf or baseball, since they have a slower pace built into it, why not invite some people over? So we are working on getting a few more sports that are here. Why did I say golf? Well, that, of course, is what the legislation was passed. Today, the U.S. House of Representatives narrowly passed a bill to rename the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America. Following an executive order by President Donald Trump earlier this year, the bill introduced by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia mandates federal agencies to adopt the new name in official documents and maps within the next 180 days. While the legislation passed the House with a 211 to 206 vote, it's the future of the Senate that remains uncertain due to the need for bipartisan support to overcome a filibuster. It's always been the issue with most parties trying to get things done. Usually gets gummed up in the filibuster. So, if you want to talk a little bit about this, the text line has now been converted into a call line, right? Calling on a text line or watching the radio. Get out of town. This new age technology is moving so fast. The text line, if you want to just shoot over some characters, hopefully something legible and or a picture. We love pictures, drawn or something that you take with a camera. You can send on over to 505-926-1410. And the normal text line isn't open right now, but what we wanted to make sure was that we had a connection to be able to make calls. I do a few of these shows remote throughout the week, and I want to make sure that I can still involve everybody into this. So this is a free form type of show today. So that same text line, 505-926-1410, 505-926-1410, that's a text line. You can now call in. I tested it earlier with Dean, and in true fashion, he made sure that I was on my toes by saying, "What? Can you hear me? Huh? Who?" Just like you used to have on your 1990s answering machine. So we're going to jump into the background of the Gulf of America and the initiative there. And then we'll talk about a few other controversial names that have happened. What do you think about the Gulf of America? This was part of the Executive Order 14172 entitled restoring names that honor American greatness. Signed by President Trump in January, this order directed federal departments to use the new name in official communications. This subsequent bill, passed by the House, seeks to codify this change into law, making it a more permanent and resistant to reversal by future administrations. If you want to read more about it, there's all kinds of great publications that have things out there. The Financial Times, Reuters, there are right now over 104 articles already written about this. It just came hot off of the presses. How do I know there are already 104 articles already spun up in the world about it? Well, I use ground.news. If you're ever looking for a place to find a plethora, a buffet, rather, you don't want to necessarily say balanced, but only in the sense that it's balanced where they've got every side represented. And it's not because they fabricate, and it's not because they search out. It's because they gather every single one. If they can get a hand on a story, they're going to put it up there. So what they do is they combine them together, and you're able to select which story from which publication you want to go to. So if you are on ground.news, House GOP passes bill to rename Gulf of America. And so there was a lot of things that that were contentious about this. It started the domino effect of the White House press poll with the AP. But you can read it from a bunch of different places. If you are looking for something that's a bit more independent but still centered, Washington Top News is a really good place to go from there. You want something that's a bit more corporate, a bit more polished, The Hill is a wonderful place to go from there. If you're looking slightly left, independent, maybe CNN, or if you're looking slightly right, the Washington Examiner is another great publication on there. Now, as far as going on either side of maybe to get a little bit of seasoning, right? You put a little bit of bias into your news. Raw Story, of course, is writing about it on the left-hand side, and Epoch Times and the Daily Caller and a few others on the right, which, as it should be, there should be a victory lap. This is something that the Republican Party has finally, I don't know, kind of made steps towards in a legal manner. And this is how they should operate with everything that they want to get done. Now, do I agree with it? No, I don't. I still think it should be called the Gulf of Mexico. I don't think we should be going around changing maps and stuff just on our account, especially after 500 some years, right? It's been Gulf of Mexico longer than we've been here. Hey, Brennan, it's good to see you there. Thanks for watching. Loyal listener, loyal YouTube watcher. And so it is a good thing that they used their power to get something done. The president put out an initiative. And this is something that the president, in all accounts, does have within his right to mandate as far as how people communicate within the executive branch. And so that's part of it. Now what's happening is, instead of it just being a decision by power, and the only one I can bring up right now is from the judicial side of the decision of Roe versus Wade. Now, the decision of body autonomy on that side of the judiciary was never codified. It was something that everybody leaned on. It was something that the world changed upon. But the Congress never codified it. I think there was 3 different presidents that promised that. So now what's happening is something that is perfectly done, able to be put into operation and changing the name of what you call something. Under the administration, that's what they want to do. If you want to do whatever you want to, it's, again, free speech. But we're back to government recognized names. So if that's what they want to do, then that's what they want to do. But here's the step that they take a little bit further, is the Congress, who has the real power, is now stepping forward and saying, okay, yeah, that's a thing that the leadership wants. It may not be a thing that you campaigned on, but you looked at polling and you listened to your constituents, I would hope, and you made the decision and ran through the levers of government. This is how things are supposed to happen. Now, again, whether or not you agree with it, this is it. This is government in action. I wish it was a bit more substantive. I wish it had a bit more oomph, right? Let's get some bills that stick to our ribs. But what's happening is this legislation is going to codify and make sure that this is now law, so that the next administration, or again, the next person that's in charge of that branch or in charge of understanding or operating that piece, doesn't change it. And so I don't want to bring necessarily the big, heavy issue of Roe versus Wade into this. But this is what is supposed to normally happen. Is if the other branches make a decision, the Congress makes that decision law. The executive branch and the judicial branch can make decisions operationally, understanding something. But to truly get something changed or permanent, it's Congress. There are certain ranks of the government that require Congress. And if you want to do this argument of, oh, executive branch has total autonomy over everything that ever happens under the executive branch, okay, commander in chief, why can't you promote certain positions without congressional approval? Why can't you appoint your cabinet without congressional approval? Time and time again, we see where Congress has the power, and this is yet another example of why. And congratulations, yes. Do something with this power. Okay, you've paved the road with a weather balloon, right? President wants to do something. Congress says, let's go. Game over. That's how things are supposed to be done around here. And I'm glad to see it, even as something as silly as this. And trust me, it's silly. You know it's silly. I know it's silly. It's definitely not something to get upset over. And maybe this back and forth, because I'm absolutely certain if the Democrats ever get the two branches put together again, this will be another litmus test for them. Can you send this weather balloon, this silly change names of a body of water? How about we start with something a little bit bigger next time? More Apolitical Talk Show. Good to see everything's working from the home studio today. My name's Dennis Green. Stick around. We'll be on the other side.
a local media outlet to talk about what's going on in your town. So you guys do a nice job.
Tune in to AM 1410, WRMN. Don't forget, you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/WRMN Radio. Keep in tune and informed on what's happening here in the Fox River Valley, right here on WRMN.
Welcome back to WRMN. WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com. That's the place to go to find out more information about, you guessed it, WRMN 1410. Thanks for watching on YouTube. YouTube.com. You can find us at WRMN. There's a few other places you can see us, Facebook as well. You'll also start to see us out in the world. Summertime, springtime, not cold, shivery, be inside time. So if you've got a place that you want WRMN to see, be broadcast, all of these different places out in the world, send us a message, 505-926-1410 or info@WRMN1410.com. News also works. News@WRMN1410.com also works. But 505-926-1410 is holding on double duty today. It's going to receive some text line stuff, or you can call that line. I'm broadcasting live from the office today, the home office, and we're talking about the Gulf of America initiative. The initiative to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America began with Executive Order 14172, entitled Restoring the Names That Honor American Greatness. And when we come back, we'll talk about the supporters that argue that renaming reflects America's dominant economic and strategic presence in the region. The major oil companies like Chevron, BP, and Shell have adopted the new terminology in public filings. But the critics, of course, including all Democrats and Representative Don Bacon, view the move as symbolic and disconnected from pressing national concerns. Why can't it be both? Representative Huffman labeled the bill a, quote, dumb distraction that offers no practical benefits to the Gulf Coast. That's from The Guardian. Of course, that leans a little bit left. And then we've got the Financial Times, which is a little bit more on the right side. We're breaking down some of the news, and at the quarter after, we're going to see if we can get some talk about the new Pope and the process in which he was selected. You're listening to WRMN, a political talk show. Stick around.
For nearly 50 years, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council and Kane Senior Council have been dedicated to serving seniors in DuPage and Kane counties. Established in 1975, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council is a volunteer-driven 501c3 non-for-profit organization committed to helping older adults live with dignity. From providing nutritious meals to offering support services, The Kane Senior Council is there every step of the way. With programs designed to enhance independence and quality of life, they're proud to make a difference in the lives of their senior neighbors. To learn more or to volunteer, visit them at 418B Airport Road in Elgin or head to their website at caneseniorcouncil.org. Give them a call at 630-338-0999. That's 630-338-0999. That's the Kane Senior Council, caring for seniors because they deserve to live with dignity and respect. Visit caneseniorcouncil.org or call 630-338-0999 today.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410 Elgin Time.
WRMN News.
Hello, I'm Dennis Green. Today is the day you will need a real ID or passport to get through security for flights, even if you're not leaving the country. This has been in the works for nearly 20 years. News Nation's Mills Hayes reports.
We've seen massive lines at DMVs, at government offices across the country this week as people have rushed to get a real ID before today's deadline. From Philadelphia all the way to Chicago, people waiting in line for nearly 3 hours. The real ID is a federally compliant state-issued license or ID card that Homeland Security says is more secure. This was a law that was passed in 2005 after recommendations following 9/11, and it was supposed to go into effect in 2008.
The idea is to better identify who is going through the nation's checkpoints and pinpoint security risks. In other travel news, there's newly released audio of when air traffic controllers lost communication with an aircraft last week. The audio is between Air Traffic Control Tower in Philadelphia and a plane headed to Newark Airport last Monday. The pilot called out 5 separate times before the control tower responded 90 minutes later.
We lost our radar and it's not working correctly. Radar service terminates, squawk VFR, green change approved. If you want a Bravo clearance, you can just call the towers when you get closer.
Okay, I'll wait for that frequency from you, okay?
Okay, no, just squawk VFR, look up the tower frequencies. We don't have a radar, so I don't know where you are.
5 FAA employees have taken a 45-day leave. It has also caused a full week of delays and cancellations at the airport. United Airlines says passengers who bought tickets to or from Newark before May 4th are eligible for a waiver. For WRMN News, I'm Dennis Green.
Produced in Studio 14 by the River Media Network.
From the pages of the Elgin newspapers of 100 years ago today, these are the headlines brought to you by the Elgin History Museum.
I'm Nick Freeman, and here's what was happening in our fair city 100 years ago. Burglar's toolkit popular with prisoners. Police today were searching for the owner of a complete burglar's kit found in the room of an Elgin hotel earlier today. A jimmy, a glass cutter, an awl to cut around the lock of a door, a screwdriver, and a brush to brush away fingerprints were found in the kit. The owner of the burglar tools, however, has failed to make his appearance to claim them and has probably disappeared. In other news, one of 3 young hobos escapes as police take them. 3 youthful hobos were ordered from a freight train by Police Officer Landwehr this noon and taken to the police station. At the doors of the station, 2 of the lads made a break for liberty. Deputy Sheriff Roy Smith gave chase and caught one of them. The other, a lad of 13 years old, escaped. The boys gave their addresses as St. Louis. One of the lads carried a diary in which he described their travels aboard freight and passenger trains, as well as outstanding incidents on their trip. "She owes me 4 kisses, and I'm going back Friday to collect," one of the sentences read.
Elgin 100 years ago is a presentation of the Elgin History Museum. Be sure to visit the museum located at 360 Park Street in Elgin, open Wednesday through Saturdays 11 to 4. You can also listen to Elgin 100 years ago at www.elginhistory.org.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. This afternoon, sunny with a high near 60, temperatures falling to around 58. Windy with gusts up to 25 miles per hour. Tonight, Mostly clear with areas of frost after 2 a.m. and a low around 35. Tomorrow, sunny with a high near 65. Currently, it is 58 with clear skies. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Does your car need a shine? At Britain's Touchless Car Wash, they make it quick, easy, and spotless every time. And they're open 24/7 for your convenience. Right now, get a free car wash just for joining their text club. Text BRITT to 30400 and enjoy a free car wash. Visit Britain's Touchless Car Wash at 1923 Larkin Avenue in Elgin or at 555 Willow in West Dundee. Britain's, caring for your car while caring for our community.
Bender Dental Care, located at 217 North McLean Boulevard in Elgin. Bender Dental wants everyone to be informed, appreciated, and cared for at all times. To prove it, they now offer a new patient exam for just $29. That includes consult, x-ray, exam, and cleaning. Let Bender Dental help you have healthy teeth and gums for a lifetime. Located at 217 North McLean Boulevard in Elgin. Visit benderdentalcare.com.
Hello, America, and good day to our friends around the world. It's good to see you here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of the show. We get a full hour this time. That pesky sports jumping into the middle of it. But if you're one of those people that like sports, stick around. A little bit more for WRMN. Some big news coming up on the sports front. My name is Dennis Onar Green. I'm the host of Apolitical Talk Show. But we like to bring on other voices. If you've got somebody who's a political wonk just like me, likes to talk politics, and you can't seem to get them to stop, send them on my way. Love to have a chat with them. There are certain places that you probably shouldn't talk politics. I want to make sure that this place is open for everyone. 505-926-1410 is the place to go if you want to send us a message or give us a call. You can always email me. I check them after the show. So many different other ways that I've got spinning and buttons and everything else going on. It's hard to check the email. Now, if you ask anybody, it's probably hard for me to check my email all the time. But hey, now we're just splitting hairs and being mean. But thanks for being here. We've been talking about the Gulf of America. And this is a legislative way to change things. What I really like about this, not the name change. I would much rather have kept it the same. But, now I can say I used to sail the legendary seas or the legendary waters of the Gulf of Mexico. You can't find it on any map. So it makes me sound more like a pirate. But, I guess, a high priority of this administration to get it done. I mean, counterintuitive, really. All the high priorities just skip Congress. This is the legal high priority. But usually the official name change and processes go through the Board on Geographic Names. It's a U.S. board established in 1890 and then codified in its modern form in 1947. It's a federal authority responsible for standardizing geographic names across the United States for use by the federal government. That way we don't get lost, right? Those of you that have been to Chicago remember the legendary tower that once stood so high, the Sears Tower, right? I think is what it was. It just disappeared one day, never to be seen again. No, it doesn't change the thing. The thing is there. Doesn't change the water, doesn't change the building, doesn't change the football team. It's a name. But this is where the semantic side of me comes in and says, but Sonar, once we start mixing up names and don't know what to call things, what's next? Words like woke? Or derangement? Or insanity? Or crazy? Or, I don't know, definitions just not coming together? People think about the Tower of Babel when they think about the separation of languages, just in biblical mythos. And they were building this tower because they were consolidated. They said, hey, we want to reach heaven. And if we all pull together, I bet we could reach heaven. I bet it would be pretty sweet if we did it. So they started building a tower to heaven. Pulling together, living together, working together. Blasphemous. But doing all of those things together. And then what happened? Words changed. We started using different words for the same thing. And we could no longer communicate. I bet that was incredibly frustrating if you were trying to build a tower to heaven, especially that far along. And so even if you don't want to look at that as a true story, let's look at it as a logical thing. I get a group of people all with a goal. A very lofty goal, but what horizon isn't always a horizon? Wouldn't be a horizon if you were there. So they have a lofty goal. They all work together. They all try to build a Shangri-La to heaven and everything else. And as they're working together and as they are building and as they are all working towards a goal of making sure that everybody can climb the tower, they didn't build a rocket ship to heaven. They didn't build an elevator. They didn't build a catapult. They built a tower with stairs because it was for everybody. All working together. And then they could not understand each other. The words changed. The thing was still there. The tower was still there. The hammers, the rocks, the people, whatever other, I don't know, machinery lost in time. Those of you that watch those like Ancient Alien shows, I'll throw you a little bone for that too. Jeff says he loves space travel. Sure does. Day's going great, buddy. Hope you're doing well too. He checks in on YouTube, youtube.com. You can find WRMN. So I just want you to think about when we start to lose the communication, when we start to lose the ability to talk with each other, start to fall apart. Star Trek, right? Jeff comes in on the chat there. The universal communicator. Those of you that are Doctor Who fans, as soon as you walk into the TARDIS, you can understand each other. Stick around for a little bit. We've got some talk about the Pope that we want to make sure that we get this news out. My name's Dennis Green. The show's called Apolitical Talk Show on the station WRMN.
You have rights, and you may be entitled to money for your suffering. Don't accept an offer you get from an insurance company until you talk to a lawyer. And we represent some of the best personal injury lawyers you can find. Tough lawyers that will fight to win your case. And they're so good they stake their reputation on it by only getting paid if you win. So if you've been in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or hurt on the job, find out today for free.
Listen to Coast, right here on WRMN, 7 days a week, from midnight to 5 a.m. Each night on Coast to Coast, listeners are captivated by George Newry with discussions on news and current events, conspiracy theories, UFOs, life after death, and all things curious and unexplained. Whether you're working third shift or you're just a night owl, catch the most listened to overnight talk radio program in North America, Coast to Coast, every night, midnight to 5 a.m., right here on WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to A Political Talk Show on WRMN. If you've heard it once, you've heard it twice. It's WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. I'm the host of A Political Talk Show. Thanks for being here. Whether you're listening on the AM dial or you happen to find the YouTube channel, we try to jam-pack all of those mediums with as much community engagement as we possibly can. And that starts at 6 o'clock in the morning with the WRMN Morning Show. Go ahead and hop on. Join the fun. Then at 9, the 9 to 10 hour, we make sure we start the workday off right, and that's with a community-focused hour. There's a few different shows that end up on that hour. Some of them about seniors, some of them about Elgin specific and history, some of them about music. The finest show up on Fridays. Check out the schedule, WRMN1410.com. Soon to be changed. It's under construction right now. We've got some great ideas and some great programs coming down the pipe for this year, especially this summer. And we want to be busy this summer, so send us all over. Trucker Dennis comes in. I'm doing fantastic, Trucker Dennis. I'm glad you're doing well, too, especially Brendan. Jeff says, awesome political talk show that makes sense. Well, you know, I don't have a jersey, man. My sport isn't, like, my team isn't the the party. My team is you and me. Well, that leaves us no party, right? But that doesn't mean we can't talk to each other. And then I think that's what we've lost, honestly. We've started to draw lines in the sand. We've started to make it a religion. We get the freedom of religion and we get the freedom of politics. And I challenge most of us to keep those freedoms from mixing. Because a true patriot looks out for everyone, regardless of beliefs. I think the only principle that America was founded on, and the strongest one, of course, freedom of religion, amazing, but that everybody was equal to the point where they could practice whatever freedom that they wanted, religion, how to sustain yourself, how to live your life, how to set up your family unit, how to run your business. The government, in essence, is just the keepers of the law. The law is the Constitution. I hate to put on my Tucker Carlson cadence, but it's some of the easiest things to understand if you walk through the logic. And so I welcome you all in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of the show. Chat comes in and says, but a lot want freedom from religion. Absolutely. My Constitution went through the wash earlier this week. The boss lady was nice enough to tape it up and squeeze out the water. So let me go over to not the articles, but let's go to the amendment. And I'm working on an amendment series. About 20 minutes long. that way we can start looking through the amendments together. Bill of Rights definitely is the first ones to go, but I'm going to go one by one with it, do about 20 minutes on it, and we'll get something out there on there. First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. That's the first clause. And it is wonderful that there is a new pope. That is wonderful that the 14th, Leo, is now the leader of the Catholic religion. And it's fantastic that we can have that exercise of religion. Dennis says division in this country is the worst enemy. We need to learn how to get along. Although we are all different, we all put our pants on the same way. Yes. This country needs to get over itself. Yeah. Or as a guy with a tall hat once said, a house divided cannot stand. This is where we have to get back to what we all agreed on. Now, I'm not a constitutional originalist. We don't take every single word as if it is the Bible. But to put it up there with misquoted books, I bet it's up there with the Bible. And so this freedom of religion and the freedom of speech and press and the right to peacefully assemble, if we have to all go back to square one, let's not go back to square one where we're cavemen hitting each other over the head with rocks and sticks or shooting at each other in a field on our own country. Let's go back to what we all agreed on when we decided to stay here. Right? Don't give me that, right? Everybody wants to say it. Everybody wants to say, if you don't like it, get out. Okay. But we all agreed in the beginning that this was it, the Constitution. And anybody who doesn't want to stand up to that, they're the ones that don't like the country and should get out. Now, I'm not saying the Constitution is 100% black and white or anything else. My goodness, do you realize how long and how old that thing has been around? But it's the principles. If we can continue to pull up habeas corpus and everything else that's stated in the Magna Carta from 1215, surely the Constitution in which we've all agreed is the law of the land. Those of you that were citizens when you turned 18, those of you men who signed up for the draft when you turned 18, you made a decision that this was the country that you were going to be a part of. In the sense of a citizen, even in the colonial sense of being a citizen, a person who will give back to the place in which they are living. Now, they added a few militia type of things here or there. But at the end of the day, you entered into the agreement that we've talked about before that Rousseau has put together. The agreement of the governed. And part of that agreement is this thing here. Now, you don't have to support and defend nothing. You don't have to think that it's the best thing in the entire world. You didn't join the military. You're not a person who's in office. You didn't take an oath. Unless you did. Then maybe we should start wagging some fingers around here. The other thing is you as a citizen. Yeah, you didn't take an oath. You aren't holding office, anything like that. But you agreed to be governed by staying here. Everyone who steps foot in this soil agreed to be governed by its laws. Like it or not, that is the case. Martin Luther King Jr., says Trucker Dennis, had it right when he said that his children should be judged by the content of the character and how they follow the Constitution? Wait.
With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, brought to you by Cintas. Illinois Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy has formally entered the race to succeed Senator Dick Durbin, announcing on his website that he plans a radical, common-sense, progressive campaign. He'll be competing with Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton and Congresswoman Robin Kelly, who've also announced. Kane County Animal Control is preparing for its next low-cost drive-through rabies vaccination and microchip clinic set for May 14th from 4:30 to 7 p.m. at 4060 Kesslinger Road in Geneva. The previous clinic.
Hey, YouTube, how are you guys? No, I absolutely agree with you, Trucker Dennis. The issues that we've got around here, people want to attack people just for talking. And the biggest issue is, dude, is that I think what ends up happening is we talk past each other about what's important. Because we don't actually sit down. We don't give ourselves the time. We don't give ourselves the space. We don't give ourselves the opportunity to go. The only thing that we can do is shout at each other over 15 minutes, throwing bumper sticker phrases at each other. We got to be able to sit down and talk about the facts and talk about what's happening. I'm not saying we got to do it all the time. Not saying we got to turn it on every day like I do. But at a certain point, we all got to come in on the same page. Maybe hold a meeting. It's good to see you out there, YouTube. We're in a break on the AM side. Just wanted to check in with everybody, make sure that they got the shout outs while they were here. Brendan, it's great to see you, man. I'm glad you're here for it. Jeff, Boss Lady jumped in too so that she could text away. If anybody wants to call, the text line is actually a call-in line now too. So you can call in. We can put you on the board. So I'll see you guys in a bit. We've got about a minute and a half until we're back on. We'll see you there.
Of a lifetime. Call 800-255-7447. That's 800-255-7447 today and speak to a cruise and vacation expert. Cruises International. It's time to set sail to your dream destination.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 35. Areas of frost are expected after 2 a.m. Looking ahead to tomorrow, sunny with a high near 65. Tomorrow night, mostly clear with a low around 45. Heading into Saturday.
No, thank you, sir. I respect your service.
Currently, it is 58 with clear skies. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town.
We took that oath, buddy. We took that oath.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or on third-party delivery platforms.
34 past the hour here on WRMN. You're listening to Apolitical Talk Show. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. You can find the Apolitical Talk Show podcast on your favorite podcasting platform. My goodness, say that 6 or 7 times fast. And then I'll record it so that I don't have to say it anymore. But thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of the show. Those of you listening live on WRMN on the AM dial. Hopefully by the end of the summer, Apolitical Talk Show will actually be syndicated. I'm talking with Mike Horn to see if we can get our little show out of the Fox River Valley out there to promote it a few other places. Find it on the Westwood One satellite side. Yeah, am I pulling in a couple favors from my time working in the satellite business? Yes, but you know, it's all about who you know, right? Trucker Dennis says, no one twisted my arm. I volunteered after I quit high school in my sophomore year. You are welcome. Yes, sir, we thank you. Because it's a big deal. I'm going to talk about the oaths. I think we've talked about them before, but we only really talked about the presidential oath. I'm going to pull them all together again, and I think what we're going to do is maybe get some representation. The only branch I don't think I know anybody from is the Space Force. I haven't met anybody from the Space Force yet. It's a new branch, so it's a little hard to find a veteran from it. Active duty, I think, if anybody signed up for an enlistment for it, maybe would only be 1 or 2 years out, depending on when they enlisted now. Definitely nobody retiring from Space Force anytime soon. Give us a call at 847. Oh, no, not give us a call. That line isn't working right now because I'm at the home studio. So the text line, 505-926-1410, is the call-in line now. 505-926-1410. So let's talk about the election process. No, we're not going to talk about the election process here in the United States. We're going to talk about the conclave. And congratulations to Pope Leo XIV, the 267th Pope and the first from the United States. 267 popes. And we finally have an American. And for some of us here that are Americans, I'm kind of ashamed of you guys. Some of you out there on the internet that said, why doesn't the American Pope speak English? Shame on you. But congratulations to Pope Leo XIV. Before the conclave begins the 9-day mourning period that's observed following the Pope's death. During this time, the College of Cardinals meets to discuss the needs of the church. And so what I hope is that this Pope filled the needs that they were looking for. The conclave takes place in the Sistine Chapel, where cardinal electors are scheduled from the outside world. They take an oath of secrecy and are prohibited from communicating with anyone outside the conclave. Voting occurs in multiple rounds each day, up to 4 votes each day, until a candidate receives a 2/3 majority, which equated to at least 89 votes. And after each voting round, ballots are burned in a stove within the Sistine Chapel. Chemicals are added to produce the smoke. Black indicates no decision, and white signifies that a new pope has been elected. This is the visual cue that alerts the public gathered in St. Petersburg Square to the outcome. Axios, CBS News, and Time all have some great reports if you want to read more about it. This is a historic first. Pope Leo XIV is notable for several reasons. He became the first American-born pope hailing from Chicago. The conclave concluded in just 2 days and 4 voting rounds, reflecting a strong consensus among the electors. Prior to his election, the Pope served as a missionary in Peru and held significant roles within the Vatican, including a prefect of the dicastery for bishops. That's in Business Insider. And his vision for the church in his inaugural address, Pope Leo XIV emphasized themes of peace, unity, and dialogue, signaling a commitment to inclusivity and global outreach. This unity dialogue, it's what a lot of people are, for lack of a better term on the top of my head, preaching. What a lot of people have. In fact, when President Biden won, that was the message. Unity of bringing everybody back. In fact, the person who's going to take the seat next is going to run on that. I guarantee it. Unity and dialogue. Because dialogue breeds unity. And inclusivity. That is where the sticky situation's going to be. Because here's the logic again. We want to take it back. When we talk about talking and dialogue and everything else, if I said I was going to bring you into the conversation, I would probably say something along the lines of including you, right? I'll include you in the email. I'll include you in the text message. I'll include you in the meeting. And this is where everybody draws the line for here, is we're not sure who is allowed to have a seat at a table. Right? Lots of tables out there. Everybody sits at different ones. People bring different things to different tables. Even think of it as a potluck. And when we start to draw the line of who's allowed to sit at the table, which sometimes you have to, there's only a certain amount of seats at this table. But where do you draw the line of being exclusive to the point of siloing yourself off? The dialogue, the unity. Okay, dialogue and unity for who? Dialogue and unity for everyone? Or dialogue and unity for people like yourself? And this is a political talk show, not in the apolitical side. But congratulations to Pope Leo. And I hope you get to include people. I hope you get unity. I hope you get dialogue and peace and the commitment to global outreach that you're going for. I hope you get it. There are some people that don't like those words. There are some people that are fighting against those words. We started this show off talking about words. Talking about the Gulf of America versus the Gulf of Mexico and the Tower of Babel. Trucker Dennis says he knows a lot of Air Force guys that transferred laterally. Wow, rank and all. Satellite tech is their specialty. Yeah, there's not too many ships out there. I do wish they were called Marines, though. Because the space... Unless they're saving that for the actual sailors. The space sailors? See, then that almost sounds silly. Because there's no sail. There's already no sail. Checking in South Elgin. We good to see you there, Brendan. Jeff says he grew up on the space race as well. So the peace, unity, to bring it for the space race, is what Jeff was talking about when he was talking about Star Trek. They started talking about that as back to the unity and translation and dialogue. Universal translators in space. Pope Leo XIV, congratulations and good luck. Apolitical Talk Show will be right back for the final segment. We'll do a couple headlines for things here and there. Maybe run down a local story. Keep listening, WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com.
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so, Annuity General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity. The Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers contains the little-known truths about annuities, like how to help reduce your fees and increase retirement income. And it's free. That's right, free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report just for calling. We researched over 1,000 annuities and summarized rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. You get Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today. Hurry, supplies are limited. Call now.
800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. That's 800-760-1845.
Businesses come in all shapes and sizes. Integrity doesn't. For more than a century, the Better Business Bureau has set the standards for how businesses should operate honestly and ethically. So when you're looking for a business you can trust, check to see who's BBB accredited and who isn't. Always choose the Better Business. Look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
Shop smarter and greener with Remix Market. We specialize in high-quality, gently used furniture, home decor, and unique treasures, perfect for giving your space a fresh look without hurting your wallet or the planet. As part of the Junkluggers family, we're on a mission to keep items out of landfills by rehoming them to loving homes like yours. Whether you're decorating, downsizing, or hunting for that perfect one-of-a-kind piece, Remix Market is your sustainable shopping destination. Visit us online at remixmarket.com and start shopping sustainably today.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-433-3082. 800-433-3082. 800-433-3082. That's 800-433-3082.
Welcome back to the final segment of A Political Talk Show on WRMN. Little disjointed today because of the late start. Sox game kind of interrupted the afternoon, but what a beautiful day for baseball. There'll be some more games coming up over the summer, so stay tuned. We're pretty much going to follow the schedule for them. I try to play at least every weekend game as well. So stay tuned as well to the weekends. We might have some other sports coming up. One thing that I want to talk about before we leave today is a little bit of how we talk about the obliviousness of some of the elite. And how sometimes the party doesn't listen. Regardless of what anybody says, everyone can be saying the same thing. And this whole side of the emperor or the king has no clothes, right? We can all see it, but everybody else just seems to be going around saying something different. And after 100 days of being in office, the president being in office, former President Joe Biden is finally talking. Now, there's a long-standing tradition of presidents not talking about anything or going out publicly, or even then, George W. spent most of his time avoiding talking about President Obama. Obviously, there's only been one president in modern history that's not observed it, but we're not here to talk about him. We're here to talk about the other guy. Biden delayed his public comments following the tradition and was on ABC's The View. If you go to ground.news, there's only about 60 articles that are written about this. The majority of them are centered. Some of them on the right sits at 28%, while the left sits at 22%. So there is some pretty down the middle side of things. In the interview, Biden accepted responsibility for Trump's victory and attributed Kamala Harris's loss partially to sexism and racism. Biden stated, "I was in charge and he won, so I take responsibility." But he criticized gender attacks, saying criticism was sexist. And of course, he rejected concerns about his age despite a poor debate performance and noted the Democratic Party's shift to new leadership while advising Harris, which he... So here's where we're going to get to the wag of the finger. President Biden, when he was campaigning for president while Donald Trump was still in office, and we talked about this. We talked about the push of unity. We also talked about the education side, right? Make it a bit more affordable. But one of the biggest things that drew many, many people not only just the unity, but the promise of passing the torch. The promise of saying, I only want one term, and then we will find someone else. In fact, if they would have turned around and immediately started advising and started actually bringing Vice President Harris into some of the meetings and into some of the things that were going on, then maybe I would believe this shift to new leadership while advising Harris. But it's baloney. You know it's baloney, and I know it's baloney. Like most vice presidents, she was shuffled away and was only there to be a backup. Even in the Constitution, the vice president is supposed to be a warm body. I'm sure if we could turn around and clone the president and have the vice president just be somebody who sits in a tube and only is awakened when they need to make a vote in the Senate, I'm sure a couple people would do that. And I'm not saying that Vice President Harris did not do things. I'm just saying constitutionally, there's nothing to do. And so if you wanted her to be presidential, if you wanted her to be the next president, then you should have done something about it in the actual time you were together. And reject concerns about your age despite the poor debate performance. Okay, you say you were in charge and he won, so you take responsibility. Okay, then why? Oh, because of the criticism was sexist. No, that's not you taking responsibility, sir. I was in charge and he won, so I take responsibility. Okay, how? We're not getting a lot of hows in our follow-up questions to things. I was in charge, he won, so I take responsibility. How? This decision right here will make America a great and beautiful country. How? We don't just deserve platitudes and pats on the back and, oh, don't worry about it, we'll get it fixed and everything's honky-dory. How? Mechanic says that your car is broken. How? Your house needs repairs. This thing here needs to go there and put it up like this. How are we going to do it? And what frustrates me when we hear the people who are so disconnected continue to say disconnected things, oh my gosh, I just want to shout at them. And no, chat, I do not think she will run again. I think she's going for governor of California right now. But, I mean, with the age limit now that we have, the new high score age of the current administration, she's got a good 30 years to run. And you're right, they will take blame and look at each other back and forth. And she looked scared to run, chat, that you put in here, because he did not advise her. And I'm not going to sit here and listen to the guy when he was lying during his presidency, and I'm not going to listen to him now. Thanks for listening to Apolitical Talk Show here on WRMN. Stick around.
Now available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com is the book called DUI Jury.
Hey everybody, we're off the air on the AM dial, but I did want to thank you all for being here on the YouTube side. We're going to wrap it up a little bit here. Trucker Dennis says Biden should have stepped aside at the end of his term. She did not have enough time to campaign correctly. Yeah, he campaigned on that, Dennis. He campaigned on I will pass the torch. And I'll tell you, as soon as Trump announced that he was going to run, he should have turned around and announced that she was going to run. Done the exact same thing. And said, okay, we're campaigning now. Let's go. Hey, thanks for listening, guys. I think this one's going to end up on the podcast as well. If you haven't found the podcast yet, just go to your search bar on Google, or you can go to the search bar on your podcasting platform. Google works too. A Political Talk Show podcast, I think, works on that side. You'll see the purple logo that we normally have over here. If you guys have anything you want me to read, or you've got anything that you want to send over, go ahead and send it over on the text line, and then I can read it and we can go over it. I can put it into the side to it. Carlos Incognito, I would love to see Harris debate J.D. Vance. It would be a bloodbath. She would be exposed for the incompetent she is. Yeah, we didn't see her do anything. I'm 100% with you, Mr. Incognito. We didn't see it. We didn't see her do anything. We didn't see the advisement. We didn't see the handoff. It was, oops, everybody's mad at me because I'm trying to do it again. In fact, every time that she was making a different comparison. So there's reports, I think, from the Washington Journal. I'll have to find them. But there were reports that every time that Kamala Harris would, I just had to check. I wasn't still pushing. I heard my voice again. But there were reports that every time Kamala Harris would say, I'm not like Biden, or this policy was bad and that thing is not what we're going to do, or I'm different, or anything like that, it was Dr. Jill that was coming in and just reprimanding her as she's the vice president. Who are you going to say? Because the first lady knew that he was slipping and needed a person that they could go on book tours with. That's what it is. They turned around and they wanted to. Now look, if you want to say he's incompetent, you want to say that that he's not all there. Yeah, sure. But he's not in charge anymore. So they knew that was eventually going to happen, but they needed to keep his legacy pristine. And if you have his vice president saying things bad about him, that's the quote that goes into the page's cover, or the cover of the book, not the grandiose whatever. But he should have stepped down early like he said he was going to, and hand down the torch instead of just having this crazy debacle. But the question I have for you, Mr. Incognito, and Dennis, and Brendan, and everybody else who decided to stick around here, Jeff, I see you there too. Who on the bench is there for the Republican side? Who's going to take over in 4 years? When is Trump going to start advising J.D. Vance? Now, what we're starting to see now is we're starting to see them together a lot more. But I don't think that's Trump's decision. I think that's J.D. Vance's decision. I think he's the one that's putting himself in that position, not Trump inviting him over to advise him. That's not how that ecosystem over there works. Not just DC, but the Republican leadership. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of my ramblings every day. Don't forget the show starts at 5 starts at 4, 5 o'clock Eastern, but 4 o'clock here on WRMN. We'll see you guys on the other side. Don't forget the WRMN morning show. And we get it, guys. It's a little bit of a change. If you've got anything that you want to have differently, let us know. Send it on over. Is there a bit that you want us to talk about? Is there a certain vibe that you want us to put together? Boss Lady says JD Vance's vibe is all surface level polish, no substance. I could see that. He flip-flops on core values, lacks real leadership, loud opinions. USCC is mostly Republican. Yeah. Most of those are. I'll see you guys on the other side tomorrow. I got to get to class. I'm late.